Greetings and praise the Lord. This is Reverend Professor Anum coming your way again with the Word of God. We are still continuing our series on the book of Ecclesiastes. Today we're going to talk about economic insecurity, hoarding and bad investments. Economic insecurity, hoarding and bad investments. Ghana has been going through very turbulent monetary times with reference to investments these days. The popular terminology that we hear all the time is financial haircut. In financial terms, a haircut refers to the lower than market value placed on an asset being issued as collateral for a loan. Ghana's economy is in turmoil, so a debt exchange program is being undertaken by the government, which has affected those who has investment in certain sectors of the economy who are getting a haircut, simply meaning that the government is fidgeting with the investment of some groups of people. And this has put a lot of doubts about investments, because it seems as if you invest, it is still not safe. Now, we realize here that money is the center of all these. People have saved their money, they've hoarded their money in banks and in government bonds, and this is happening to these monies which they have stored or hoarded in these places so that it would make them secure. But now, because the government is seeing that the country is in economic insecurity, the government has now gone ahead to create insecurity for all those who have invested and hoarded their monies in certain banks, in certain investments, and in certain bonds. Here we see the expectations we place on money for our security in terms of investments. We realize the perspectives of money that is preached to us. People tell us, as you start working, invest money, invest in bonds, invest in the stocks, invest so that when you grow old, you'll be able to reap the benefits of your investment. But now we are realizing that even these kind of investments that we do is not secure. In fact, we had gone through a period when some banks were closed down by government and a lot of people lost their investments, including myself. And it seems as if it is not only individuals. There were churches who put a lot of their monies into these investments, and they put their monies into these banks. The banks are closed, which shows that it's insecurity, and a lot of people lost a lot of money. And this time round, it is other types of investment which is having a haircut, which is creating a problem. I think this makes it clear that investments and hoarding your monies in banks, stocks, and bonds does not make you secure. And it is important for me to preach this message because a lot of churches took the decision to buy some of these investments so that their churches can be safe. But we are realizing that even saving money and having investments is not safe. It's not the best. Now, we realize that Solomon, who was one of the richest people who lived, realized that he himself, having invested, having stored money, hoarded all kinds of wealth, comes to realize the futility of these wealth. So in Ecclesiastes chapter 5, verses 13 to 17, he addresses the issue of hoarding and bad investments. And I read Ecclesiastes 5, 13 to 17. He says, "There is a grievous evil which I have seen under the sun, riches being hoarded by their owner to his hurt. When those riches were lost through a bad investment and he had fathered a son, then there was nothing to support him. As he had come naked from his mother's womb, so will he return as he came. He will take nothing from the fruit of his labor that he can carry in his hand. This also is a grievous evil. Exactly as a man is born, thus will he die. So what is the advantage to him who toils for the wind? Throughout his life, he also eats in darkness with great vexation, sickness, and anger. Yes, there are a few things that I want to pick from this for us to learn from. Just 4 lessons about hoarding bad investments that we do. 1. Hoarding perspective is a grievous evil. The perspective of hoarding is a grievous evil. Ecclesiastes chapter 5 and verse 13 says, "There is a grievous evil which I have seen under the sun, riches being hoarded by their owner to their own hurt." In this particular verse, you can see Solomon who calling something a grievous evil. And what he is calling a grievous evil, he's saying that it is sick, it is being sick. He uses the phrase under the sun as a terminology referring to we living in this world. And he says that the evil is that riches is being hoarded by their owner. But these riches that is being hoarded by their owner, it is to their own hurt. Someone is amassing riches, and the riches is going to lead that person to self-destruction. That is what Solomon says. In this case, the self-destruction comes about through hoarding. Hoarding is excessive accumulation of anything, particularly money. Hoarded riches is typically the view of or perspective that we can control circumstances, believing that having a pile of money or possessions makes us safe or happy. Hoarding is also declining to actually enjoy the wealth or do any good with it. There are people who store up so much wealth and they're thinking they will use it one day. They build so many houses with the idea that they will enjoy it later. But some of these people never enjoy any of that. Solomon declares hoarding to lead to our own hurt. There's nothing wrong with money itself. It is the attitude to money that is a problem. You can be rich, but watch your attitude. Money is not bad, but it is actually being so obsessed with money, loving money is actually the case. 1 Timothy 6:17-19 says, "Instruct those who are rich in this present world not to be conceited or to fix their hope on the uncertainty of riches, but on God, who richly supplies us with all things to enjoy. Instruct them to do good, to be rich in good works, to be generous and ready to share, storing up for themselves the treasure of a good foundation for the future, so that they may take hold of that which is life indeed." So life indeed comes not from storing riches, but life indeed comes from when we decide that our perspective will be different. And our perspective should be a perspective of generosity, a perspective of helping others who need it, a perspective of good works. 2, wrong expectations from wrong perspective lead to disaster. Wrong expectations from wrong perspective leads to disaster. Ecclesiastes chapter 5 and verse 14 says that when those riches were lost through a bad investment and he had fathered a son, then there was nothing to support him, that is to support the son. Solomon observes in his example that the hoarded riches end up being lost through a bad investment. So now there's nothing to support the son of the hoarder. Sometimes those who hoard money, those who do these investments, are thinking that this is for their children. But hoarding is the opposite of stewardship. It is a claim that this is mine, while stewardship is a recognition that we are only caretakers for a time. It makes sense that someone who claims this is mine would pay no attention to mentoring his son or his children, or mentoring an heir, which requires admission that I won't always have my possessions. Some people think they will always have your possessions. Your possessions can just vanish in a minute. So there is a need for you to teach your children that money is stewardship. Don't make your children feel that, as for you will never be poor. Somebody told his son and daughter that they will never take trotro because he is rich. That is bad stewardship. You need to teach your children to know how to appreciate the little things that God has given to you. And let them know that what you have is not yours, it's from God. And you are not better than other people. God has just gracefully given it to you and your children. You have to train them to be hardworking, to understand how to live one day at a time and how to lead a life of contentment. So that you wouldn't die and there is nothing to support or to guide them or to direct them in their life that will not make them die the same way that you have done. Thirdly, true perspective of money shows its positive sides. True perspective of money shows its positive sides. Ecclesiastes chapter 5 verse 15. Ecclesiastes 5:15 says, as he had come naked from his mother's womb, so will he return as he came. He will take nothing from the fruit of his labor that he can carry in his hand. Although the father of the man who, or the father of that son or that particular man or woman tries to guard his hoarded riches, he can't take it with him. The son comes into the world with nothing and is not aided by the bad investment of his father. Both experience the same fate. Neither gains benefit from the wealth and both will leave it behind. Look, whatever you have with your family, whatever riches you hoard, wherever you hoard it, it will not help you. Because whenever we die, have you seen a dead man holding anything in his hands? Nothing is put into a dead man's hands to take with. We all go with our hands cold and empty, and we are put into our coffin and we go. It is in these days we have to realize the fact that riches, possessions, positions are just temporary things. Look at what has happened in Turkey just recently. The earthquake that happened in Turkey should teach us a lesson. In 45 seconds, when the earthquake came in Turkey and Syria, people lost their homes, their businesses, their loved ones, their properties, their possessions. In just 45 seconds, somebody who was living in a mansion becomes homeless. In just 45 seconds, somebody who was owning a whole business empire becomes a poor person. In 45 seconds, just 45 seconds, those who have stored so much riches in their homes becomes paupers with nothing. So it is very important for us to realize how vulnerable we are and how futile the things we achieve are in just 45 seconds. 40,000 plus people have died in Turkey and Syria, and these people are carrying nothing in their hands. They have died under the rubble, and there is nothing that they are carrying under the rubble to their death. As he says in Ecclesiastes 5, 15, it says, he will take nothing from the fruit of his labor that he can carry in his hand. It is important for us to know that all those who have perished in Turkey, whatever they achieved, they are not carrying anywhere. They have perished under the rubble, and that is it. So we should be humble, and we should know that we are just stewards of the things that we have. It can vanish. We can cease to exist. We can cease to operate properly at any time. 3, true fulfillment comes through generosity and faith rather than accumulation. Ecclesiastes 5:16 says, this also is a grievous evil. Exactly as a man is born, thus will he die. So what is advantage? What is the advantage to him who toils for the wind? In verse 16, Solomon adds an additional comment about the father's hoarding. He says, based on reason and experience, a life built around accumulation of treasure is futile. This is true for everyone. Every single person has to leave all their treasure behind. There is no trailer of money or wealth carried behind a hearse. Have you ever seen a hearse with the trailer of the person's wealth hooked to the back? No. Nobody is going to go with his wealth to the grave. Of course, Solomon has already provided the answer to hoarding, a lesson he will soon repeat. True fulfillment comes through faith rather than accumulation. Yet, whatever we take to the grave is completely different. When we die, we take something invisible to the grave. Nothing is taken from all our accumulation of wealth, but something is taken. When we die, we take with us our character and our conscience. We take with us our character and our conscience to our grave, not our accumulated wealth. We take with us those treasures which we have laid up in heaven. Matthew 6:20-21 says, store your treasures in heaven where moths and rust cannot destroy, and thieves do not break in and steal. Wherever your treasure is, there the desires of your heart will also be. We shall also take with us, apart from the character and conscience which we have created, our faith and our belief which we have really nourished and we have really been able to develop. We will take those ones to heaven, to our grave. Then another one is that we shall also take with us the friends whom we have made by the proper use of our wealth. The friends we have made by our proper use of our wealth, in terms of our generosity to them, our giving them a hand, caring for them, being sensitive to their needs. In Luke 16:9, Christ actually confirms this as one of the promises to those who use their wealth properly. He says, here is the lesson. Use your worldly resources to benefit others and make friends with them. Then, when your possessions are gone, they will welcome you to an eternal home. Hallelujah. These are the things that, lastly, right expectations of riches should lead to inclusion, not isolation. Ecclesiastes 5:17 says, throughout his life, he also eats in darkness with great vexation, sickness, and anger. This thought could refer to the nature of a hoarding man leading a life of isolation. A hoarder is always suspicious of anyone who poses a threat to his possession. So he's always hiding his things so that people will not see it. This could lead to a life where the hoarder eats in darkness alone. He's isolated, he's alone, and he's lonely because he just wants to consume these things himself. This trait could also apply to the hoarder consuming his time on earth in the darkness of a lack of understanding of the light of God, which shines on you and changes your character and your conscience. He could be living a life focused on accumulation and possession of material wealth, blind to the reality that he will die and leave it all behind. Reality is all around him, it is self-evident that he can't take it with him. And because he realized he cannot take it with him, it makes him sick. Hey, so I will leave all these riches. Then he gets depressed and he gets sick. It makes him angry. I'm angry that I acquire all this wealth, but I cannot take any to my grave. Even if they bury you with a golden coffin, it still does not make you comfortable in your grave. You are dead. It makes him vexed. Vexation that comes to him is because he's toiled for all these, he struggled for all this, and all this toil will just all be consumed in the wind. The sickness could be seeking control over things God did not grant us to control, which would naturally lead to anger about our mortality and inability to function independent of a sovereign creator. If you actually think about inclusion and being part of the family of God and sharing your riches generously with the people of God, then you will be happy. In conclusion, the self-destruction that stems from hoarding is lamented. Hoarders refuse to face the reality of death. This evil harms not only the hoarder, but also the succeeding generations that comes through his line or in his nation. We are all suffering because of a few rich people who amass so much wealth, and because they amass so much wealth, it makes so many other people poor. Money makes itself wins no matter how well we manage or hoard it, no matter how well we even invest it. If we don't lose our assets in this life, we will definitely lose them when we die. As you've surely heard, there is never a money trailer following a funeral hearse. May God grant you the grace to understand that it doesn't matter what you do. Our security is only in God. Our security and investments are really the ones that God has given to us. So when God gives us riches, God gives us opportunity to invest. God gives us opportunity to be able to amount certain wealth. We should watch the use of it, because the use of it will lead us into isolation, darkness, and distraction. Thank you. This has been Reverend Professor Anum coming your way with the Word of God this Sunday. And I'll be coming your way every Sunday at 7:30 a.m. on my Instagram, my YouTube, and my Facebook. Make a date with me every Sunday at 7:30 a.m. Shalom.